Well, I guess it's another hard ass part of the ring, another hard ass part of the ring. Sometimes you reach out for that hot tag and you go ahead and make your own comeback. Why do you do that? That's when you should quit wrestling and you're better off rolling in thumbtacks. AEW, the hard ass part of the ring, the hard ass part of the ring. One more, sometimes you get trapped in a headlock. You're worried about smearing your lip gloss. Shoot her off and take a shoulder block. Do the leapfrog, give her the hip toss. On a hard-ass part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. Clap, clap, clap. There was a pay-per-view on Saturday. Did you know that, Bob Squad? I don't know how many people knew that, but it wasn't half bad. I'm going to tell you right now. It's the hard-ass part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa. Yay. What's going on, Bob Squad? We are talking about the July 2nd, 2002, Saturday WWE pay-per-view extravaganza Money in the Bank from Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas is a big enough city where they're allowed to say the name of the city and not just the state. So if you ever hear them go, "Hey, Nevada," they are not in Las Vegas. I don't even know if they're in Reno. I don't know any other Nevada cities. Should I? It doesn't matter. Anyway, prostitution's legal, so I'm sure that a lot of executives in WWE had a great weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada, and everyone had fun. This pay-per-view, this is the keep you occupied, keep you busy, keep you amused until SummerSlam pay-per-view. SummerSlam is early this year. It's on 4 Saturdays from now, 4 weeks after this, so now it's 3 weeks and 6 days. When the fuck is it? Saturday, July 30th. And this was Saturday, July 2nd. Okay. It's a very early SummerSlam. Usually it's mid-August at the earliest. But for whatever reason, we're having an early SummerSlam. I'm not complaining. SummerSlam 2022. Get it over with. And this pay-per-view happened. I watched none of the pre-show except for the last 10 minutes. It was just package after package, just long, veiny, blue vein, thick packages, just smacking you in the ear while you're trying to hide your Minesweeper window on your Windows 95 before the boss comes around. What? Bob? What are you talking about? Stop making things up. Oh, no one uses Windows 95. We're up to XP now, I think. I don't know. Nobody knows. There's no way of knowing. But there is one way of staying cool and refreshed with all this summer heat and all the summer excitement. How do you keep cool and refreshed, Bob Squad? Never mind, I'll tell you. You keep cool and refreshed with Pepsi Zero. That's right. The same great Pepsi taste, none of the sugar, none of the calories. Go to Pepsi.com/zero. Enter the promo code Bob Squad. Nothing happens. Maybe it's an error message, just nothing. Waste of time. They would like me to stop. Okay. Let's go match by match. This is going to be funny for me, probably not for you as much. I took no notes, and I watched this over 24 hours ago. I just didn't want to take notes. With Raw, I write everything down because there's 400 backstage segments, and this I just said, the hell with it, I'm just going to watch it, and I'll tell you what I remember. There were 6 matches. I might not even get the order of them right. Whatever. We open a show. Oh, this was nice because we open a show with Hulk Hogan slamming onto the Giant before we get into anything. Actually, I don't even know. I didn't even really see the opening, so maybe we didn't. But I like to think we did in my head. I like to think we started off with Hulk Hogan slamming onto the Giant. So, what was my original point? I forgot what my original point was. Oh yeah, we start the match because I didn't see the pre-show. I wasn't able to be spoiled by when they tell you what the first match is going to be. I hate knowing that, but I like to be surprised with the theme music of the first person involved in the first match. But in this case, the ring announcer just said the opening match is the women's Money in the Bank. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Whenever they have these big gimmick things, and there's 2 of the big gimmick, whether it's Money in the Bank or 2 Hell in a Cell matches. Usually one of the big gimmicks is last and one of them's first. So, okay. Fair enough. So the women are going to be first. This match featured 7 women? I don't know. Becky Lynch enters first. She is very popular and famous, and she gets a big ovation. because now they're just treating her like a babyface, but she's acting like a heel anyway. They gave up. Becky Lynch is there. Liv Morgan comes to the ring. I don't know who came, what order they all entered, but Becky was first. Liv comes to the ring, and I tweeted this out. I saw the look on her face for 1 second of her entrance, and I immediately tweeted, there's a timestamp somewhere, Liv just won Money in the Bank. I knew she was going to win the thing, and she did. Because right away, she's already teary-eyed, looking like she just won when she came out. She's not looking as much like regular Liv, but amped up for the match. No. She's looking like, oh my god, I just won. Her face gave it away, and I tweeted immediately because I wanted a timestamp on it. Look, stop giving it away. It's the same way when a champion walks to the ring and they're going to lose the championship, the belt, if you will, and they have the boo-boo face on, you go, oh, just lost the championship. I could tell already. Nah, hide that shit. But whatever. I have mostly positive things to say about Liv Morgan in this, so I'm not trying to trash her too hard. I just thought it was an oversight. It was a giveaway, and that's how I felt. Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss was in this, and she wrestled this ladder thing like she would rather do anything in the world than wrestle this match with all these ladders and women in danger and yada yada yada. And she did the minimal that she could in this match for that reason. Good old Sloppy Blackheart from the former Legion of Gimmicks 3000. I think she was in here. So that's 4 of them. And there were 3 other women. Why don't I know who they are? That's bad. Oh, Raquel. Is it Gonzalez or Rodriguez? I think it's Rodriguez now. Raquel Rodriguez is there. She can't stop smiling. She's happy to be there. She has a lot of strength, and her things didn't work out so well in this. That's 5. Who the hell else was in this match? Well, whatever. There were 7 women in the contest. Okie dokie. There you go. Lacey Evans. She got booed. She's supposed to be a good guy, but they got her as the super sympathetic personal stories with the military aspect. It's like, hey, America's not what it was in the 80s. Vince, we're not all going to cheer. My back, I accidentally unplugged my microphone for 0 reason. So hopefully nothing happened there. I was playing around. Anyway, I think that's 6 of them. Who cares? We'll figure it out. So they're all in the match. Alexa's trying to do as little as possible. Raquel went for 2 spots early on that were just looking goofy. They didn't work. She tried to do like a deadlift with Liv and Becky each on one side of the ladder, and do a deadlift with the ladder. For what purpose? I don't really know, even though it's a show of strength. But either way, Liv and Becky were not equal distances away from Raquel. So Raquel just lifted up just the Becky side because the Liv was too far away. So imagine trying to deadlift a bar, but you do it from 25 or 75% of the way instead of 50% in the middle of the bar. You know what I'm saying? You're just off to one side. Like it didn't work. No shit. All those weights she lifts, and she doesn't know that. I mean, she's fucking jacked. She should know this. And then she did something else shortly after, and it just wasn't working. So her big spot that would have gotten replayed and everything else just got butchered, and I was like, that's not good. Because I like her, but it didn't look good. This match is what we thought it was going to be. There's a lot of disappearing and selling far away, and I know that's something Cornette always brings up. I'm not trying to just echo what he says all the time, but it's worth noting that nothing's going on. You can see Alexa was selling on a floor at one point. I don't know why I'm picking on her today, but she's literally underneath one of the ladders because there's 98 ladders all set up around the ring. Alexa's laying down selling underneath one, and it just became really really odd and goofy. Becky did this one spot. I think it was Shotzi she had set up on. The ladder is bridged between the table and the ring apron, is the hardest part of the ring. And Becky jumps off, I think, another ladder to do like a leg drop and I think break Shotzi through, but Becky kind of overshot and Becky landed her butt on Shotzi's ribs and just kind of bounced off her and looked like she killed Shotzi, but it made no noise or impact. Good old Sloppy Blackheart, good God. She intentionally missed a senton on Becky. who was lying on a ladder in the middle of the ring because no one tries to climb up the ladder and win the match ever. And Becky, of course, Becky's not taking that shit, so Becky moves. And Shotzi just crashes her neck or back or head or whatever on this ladder. It sounded sickening, and they're all getting hurt for, unfortunately, a match that just couldn't. It wasn't a good match. It was memorable, and there were good moments. Liv does win the thing, and it is a good moment when Liv wins it, and that was okay. And the people were behind her. The people felt like she earned it. It kind of reminded me of when Becky didn't win and Carmella did in 2018, I want to say. Yeah, leading up to the man thing. So June or July of 2018, whenever that big ladder Money in the Bank, people really, really wanted Becky, and Carmella ended up winning it again, and they booed heavily. But anytime Becky would climb the ladder, that you'd hear him rise, and it was the same way with Liv in this. Lacey, they booed the shit out of. Good God, it came across on TV, and I saw people saying on Twitter they were there live, and that's what it sounded like. So that was that. But they're never gonna make. That's a tricky thing when you tie someone to the military. You tie them to politics. So you're always good. So now everyone's always gonna be divided. No one's ever gonna fully love or hate this character. It's just gonna be a mixture of. It's either going to be a mixture of boos and cheers, which noise is good, but at the same time, you're going to have shows like this where now everyone just looks foolish. And she's wearing pink camo, that's the thing. She's wearing pink camouflage and then weird pink and black face paint like she's part of a special girls-only military. Like, what is the purpose? I don't fucking know. Liv wins the thing, and everyone's very happy, and she celebrates. And maybe there were backstage things, I forgot. But we go to our second match. Theory, the U.S. champion, wrestles Bobby Lashley. They have a fine match, nothing wrong with it. Nothing that stuck out. Theory's got his bumping shoes on, and he was bouncing around as he should, because Bobby Lashley's a huge muscular babyface. Lashley wins the thing. The full Nelson, hurt lock, whatever, tap out. Lashley's the new U.S. champion. Oh, I should have seen it coming later, and I didn't. I did not. That was a big surprise. I thought the obvious finish was some fuckery. Theory either cheats to win or DQ count out, whatever, just to keep the thing on Theory so Theory can have it when he wrestles Cena, which is still the inevitable rumor or whatever. I thought that was the easy, obvious prediction. It was the safe prediction, but nope, they went somewhere else with this. They subverted our expectations. Nothing wrong here, nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about, really. And then we go to Carmella challenging Bianca Belair. Of course, we have Graves over the top commentary here because of Carmella, and he does flat out say, Byron, of course I'm affiliated with her, I married her. And it makes perfect sense. This was my favorite Carmella anything in a couple of years. Because I thought Carmella had like a 1 or 2 year run where she was just really great. And it's been a while since that run, honestly. I think it was a 2016-17 kind of a deal. And she had the Ellsworth guy and didn't, and she would cheat and then beat Asuka and yada yada yada. And it was great. She had the big gaudy laugh, and she was a loudmouth, and it worked. And they just watered her down at every single opportunity. Even when she had brown hair and she was with R-Truth for a bit, that was fun. I thought it was cool, the 7-second dance break and everything else. It was one of those few things that people were just, it was so silly, and underneath babyface, people were into it. But and then she came back as a blonde, whatever. You know the whole story. And the face mask was goofy. Anyway, she was good here. She was being a heel. Similar to Theory and Lashley before them, we have 2 cases where the babyface is significantly larger, and Bianca's. I mean, she's meatier. She's definitely more athletic looking than Carmella. Carmella's obviously in amazing shape, but Bianca's really athletic, and it showed. And Bianca does beat her clean with the finish. No false finishes, no teasing to finish, none of that. Just beats her, as she probably should have, and it was fine. People were happy with it. People, by and large, with the exception of Lacey Evans, this crowd did everything you would think writers, bookers, whatever you want to call them, wanted them to do. With the exception of Lacey Evans for this night. The crowd was with everything. I have very good things to say about this pay-per-view, and I will say so at the end of this. Let's move this along. I've only done 3 matches in 15 minutes. The next match, I fell asleep when the bell rang, but I rewatched it later. The Street Profits and the Usos. This was the match I cared about the least going into this show, and ended up being the best thing on it. A hot tag match. Competitive, both teams trying to win. False finishes. They made you forget the Street Profits have wrestled the Usos 40 times, and the Street Profits have been champs already. They made you forget that with this match. Montez Ford, as the announcers noted, was looking a bit more muscular. Angelo Dawkins showing a lot more personality and everything else. There was a crazy... I want to defend this dive in case anyone says, when an AEW people do dives, you shit on it. It's okay when WWE guys do it. Montez does a crazy forward jumping somersault dive over the turnbuckle corner onto both Usos. And yeah, I'm going to defend that over your AEW dives. And here's why. In an AEW dive, 5 guys gather, stop what they're doing, stare up at the sky, and watch one guy take his time, standing up on a turnbuckle, and then doing his gymnastic flip. The guy doing the flip hits 1 or 2 guys, and all 6 of them fall down. And it looks bombastic every time. It's laughable. It's fake. It's so fake. In this instance, both Usos are on the outside of the ring, gathered by one of the corners. I think Angelo is off selling something. Montez Ford was very athletic and looks like an athlete, not just a guy doing a flip off a thing like it's a diving board. He looks like an athlete, and it still takes a lot of athleticism most people don't have to pull off what he did. He looks up, he sees the situation, and remember, there's 2 Usos, there's not 5 or 6 or 7 of them. He hits one turnbuckle, Montez hits the opposite turnbuckle for momentum, runs real fast, jumps up over the top turnbuckle, does a flip over the corner post onto the 2 Usos, who are pros and are selling and don't look in Montez's direction until the last second, and they both catch him, and Montez connects with both of them, so there's an excuse as to why they would fall down. He's a 230-something pound guy, a lot of height, a lot of speed, a lot of momentum crashing down, made contact, and the 2 guys caught him and protected him. He usually kind of half lands on his feet anyway, but whatever. And it's still extremely improbable in real life that would happen. I'm not saying that it looks realistic compared to, compared to the AEW dives, it does look realistic. Every measure was taken to make it as believable as it could be. Okay? They didn't just lazily go, well, it's wrestling, who cares? Then well, you're right, who cares? So I'll change the channel. You're right. If we don't care, we don't care then. So I'll defend that. Shortly after, there was a goofy finish. I think there was some confusion about which Uso was supposed to be legal, honestly, and something was a little odd. A little pushing and shoving back and forth. Not like in an argument. I think Montez pushed one Uso out of the way to do something similar to the other one. Something was a little off, and they hit the 3D. Now it's the 1D on Montez, and the part of the cutter part of the 1D was a little askew, but they had a camera angle to save it. But you got the idea. And 1, 2, 3, and they showed in the replay, and they admitted it. I don't know if they were just rolling with an accident, if they were just rolling with this mistake by acknowledging it, or they just or there's plans to have this match again or whatever. Now I do want to see the match again, believe it or not. But Montez's right shoulder was up as one of the Usos was pinning him. And they made a point for Dawkins to yell about it, and Montez would yell about it, which I liked. One of the announcers teased that maybe the Profits aren't getting along, and I thought, okay, they're going to lose, and one will blame the other or whatever. And they didn't really do that. They both blamed the referee, okay. So at least that's not the story as of yet. This was an excellent match. It was the match I would have omitted if you showed me the whole card on paper, and it was the best thing of the night. So, egg on my face. Bob was wrong. But again, I had fallen asleep at the opening bell, and I rewatched it later. I stayed asleep for the start of Ronda Rousey versus Natalya Neidhart, and I woke up for the finish, but I would rewatch it later. Natalya. Congratulations, Natalya. You have given Ronda Rousey her second best WWE match of all time. Of course, the first best would be her debut. She had Triple H and Kurt Angle in there with her, for fuck's sake. Ronda Rousey, her best one-on-one singles match was given to her, and I want to say given by Natalya. And Natalya just, if her stock couldn't go up any further, in my mind, wow. Natalya gave Ronda a believable back and forth, kind of pro wrestling, but really grounded, grappling mat-based match to make it look as real as possible, and to accentuate Ronda's strengths as much as possible instead of expose all the shit she doesn't know how to do. Like when they put her in multi-women things and battle royals and show how she's lost. No, Ronda knew what to do, and I guess Natalya's trained with her, or practically trained her in pro wrestling. So Natalya's going to be there to talk to her the whole time. I didn't have my eye out for any talking to, for any communication. I wasn't looking, but I wouldn't be surprised. And the ref is there as well. But with that style, you can lead someone into doing what they do best. And Natalya did a wonderful job. I think this is the best Ronda Rousey's ever looked in a one-on-one match in WWE. I believe that. And I'd given up on Ronda Rousey. And I dare say no one else is going to give Ronda that in the company, not even Charlotte, whenever she decides to come back. But looks like that SmackDown, in Charlotte's mind, that SmackDown title might be ripe for the picking. Ronda taps out Natalya to the ankle lock, and this is later on in the show, so they do tease the ankle lock here and there, and a sharpshooter, of course, is there. It's a match about submission. That's the story of the match, and those Hearts are always great at telling the story with their match. The story here is Natalya wants to make Ronda submit. Brett and Owen in Mania 10, the story of Brett maybe not going full force on Owen, testing him a bit, and being a little more defensive than offensive with Owen. And Brett's matches always had that kind of story to it, where if Brett's find a bigger guy, he's going to work that leg and show you why. And man, so this was just so well done. Ronda wins. To my surprise, a little bit, Liv's music hits. And this is when I woke up. I had fallen asleep, and again, I rewatched the match. I woke up for that finish, because I have an amazing ability to fall asleep during a pay-per-view and wake up for the finish. I do this every pay-per-view. And I do, and Liv's coming down, and right away, I'm even groggy. I go, oh, they rang the bell. Liv's going to be the one. They're going to have her cry about how she won the Money in the Bank, and then she cashed it in and lost it and feels like a loser and a failure, and yada, yada, yada. And so Liv goes for the boot. She gets caught in the ankle lock, and I thought she was tapping. I thought, oh. I'm a moderate Liv Morgan fan. I like her just fine. I don't lose my mind over her. Because they're all very hot ladies. It's not about that. They're all hot ladies. It's very stupid. But I'm just saying, I'm perfectly okay with Liv Morgan. I have no issues. But I didn't think they had that faith in her. And she didn't tap, and she, again, told the story. She kicked the knee that Natalya already hurt, and this gives Natalya a gripe for later, and Ronda a gripe for later, and yada yada. Not everything has to have an out, but sometimes someone just has to win. But in this case, even though Ronda's the one who just wrestled, Liv did just win a multi-person ladder thing. You could fudge this however you want to. Liv rolls up Ronda, and Liv Morgan is now the second woman ever to pin Ronda Rousey, the first being Becky Lynch, who actually didn't really get a clean pin. They always cut that part out because I think it was a mistake. Liv Morgan pins Ronda Rousey. And great, I love it, I don't care. I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. Do it. Do it up. Why not? Tell your story. And the people, it definitely had that Star is Made moment. And people reacted very strongly. They were very happy about it as well. They should have. This puts Liv on SmackDown, so I don't know if I'll be seeing much of her, but I'm curious to see how that works out. I'm curious to see if a Charlotte return. Oh, they had Ronda hand Liv the belt, and again, I was wrong again. I love the shows when I'm wrong. I think that's why I like this show, because I was wrong so many times. Like, yes, I want to be wrong. Being right is boring. You're not supposed to be right all the time. I thought, okay, now Ronda's going to beat the shit out of Liv, and Ronda gets her heat back, even though she's the babyface. Ronda leaves her laying, and now we can full-on boo Ronda and yada yada yada, and she damn near cripples Liv. And Liv has the belt, but they still make her look like garbage. That's what I thought what would happen. Ronda hands her the thing, hugs her, and says, "You deserve it," and leaves and gives her her moment. Didn't see that shit coming either. Didn't see Liv coming out. Didn't see Liv pinning Ronda. Didn't see Ronda not killing her. Oh well. Hell, I thought Becky was just going to win the Money in the Bank. Honestly, I did. I thought that was just the easy answer. And they would just do it. You see how we've given up? Okay. What's the next match? I think the next match is just the men's ladder. Let's move on real quick. 7 guys. Seth Rollins has funny pants. I liked him though. They were really good. Looked like a modern nasty boy. Seth Rollins, Riddle has no shoes. I have a gripe about that in this match. That's 2, and we need 7 guys before we get to the 8th surprise guy. Who the hell else was in it? Drew McIntyre and Sheamus were there to occupy each other. So that's 4 guys. Madcap Moss has no, he doesn't have suspenders anymore. He was looking jacked too. Moss was in there. Looked like $1 million. That's 5 guys. Who the hell else was in here? Not Kevin Owens, surprisingly. Yeah, I don't know. Omos. Oh yeah, so this was heavily centered around him. I'll get that. That's 6 of the 7. I'll think of the other guy later. Who cares? Adam Pearce, before the bell rings, says, "Hey, there's not 7 guys. There's 8 guys, and I'm bald." And he brings out Theory, who lost the U.S. Championship to Bobby Lashley earlier. And here's the thing. The surprise or mystery guy of any multi-wrestler thing is always the winner. Right? How many... give me an example when they weren't. Lesnar did this at a Money in the Bank. He came in at the end. Hell, Lesnar did this at the Royal Rumble this year. Becky Lynch did it when she won the Rumble in 2019? I think. I don't know. Whatever. So, yeah, they do this all the time. Who won the Rumble, the Women's Rumble this year? Was it Bianca? Bianca was supposed to be there. I don't know. Whatever the hell, right? So, wait a minute, is that right? Nobody, there's no way of knowing. I apologize, I got sidetracked. I got confused for a second there. I got very confused. So, I'm trying to think of Women's Rumble winners now. Listen, it's not important. I apologize. I'm very distracted. My hip hurts, and my car battery died. That's a bit of a problem I got to fix tomorrow. So, okay. What are we talking about? Oh, the men's ladder thing. Okay, so Theory comes out, so we know Theory's going to win because he's a surprise guy, so there's no reason to have all this carnage. We're going to do it anyway. They spend more than the first half of the match just doing everything they can to neutralize Omos. They hit him with stuff, they bury him with ladders, and eventually they give him like a 5-man power bomb through the broadcast announcer's table, whatever. A couple of things about that. At one point, Riddle and I think Moss, I don't know, Riddle and somebody else do a double drop kick to a ladder, which is laying down on the apron, is the hardest part of the ring, to hit Omos. But Omos picks up the ladder so that neither guy baseball slide kicks the ladder. Riddle's wrestling barefoot. So you're telling me his intention was to drop kick a metal ladder barefoot as hard as he could? They went through with the spot because he wasn't going to hit it. But you're telling me his intention was to hit this kick with his bare foot on a ladder. That's asinine. Details. Let's think about them. These things matter. Because Joe Schmo, who doesn't watch much wrestling and casually just sits there as his friends or family are watching this, those are the things that they notice that we don't because we're too used to it, and they scoff and there's no new viewers. So stop that. When they put Omos through the big table and Seth was directing traffic, and basically they gave him a mega pint version, LOL, of what the Shield used to do to guys, because Seth was in the Shield. I thought they were going to do this. Seth was telling everyone, and all the guys who took orders from Seth for some reason, I thought Seth was going to tell them, put him on the table, put him on the table. I'll set him up and I'll put him through it and yada yada yada. And as they all do that, Seth runs into the ring and starts running up the ladder and makes fools out of all of them, which he might as well have. They're taking orders from him anyway. I thought that was going to be the spot. Again, I love being wrong. They put him through the thing and that was the end of Omos. Nothing else was memorable in this. I think Drew and Sheamus took turns clubbing Theory in the chest, which is another sign Theory's going to win because they're beating the living shit out of him. Because now they got to go through this horse shit so this kid can win it. But we do need new stars, so it is what it is. Theory does win this thing. I think Riddle gives Seth a big RKO off one of the ladders, and I think it's Riddle and Theory at the end, and Riddle gets bumped off somehow or another. And Theory wins the thing, and Theory is the Money in the Bank guy. Will Theory cash in on, I guess Roman is his only choice? Or Brock if Brock wins it? I don't know. Are they going to go nuts and have Theory win it at SummerSlam? I don't see Roman or Brock saying, yeah, let him pin me. Brock maybe for the money. I don't see Roman doing that, so I don't know where this is going to go. I think he'll be one of those guys who hangs on to it for several months. I'm going to make another prediction and be wrong. Watch me be wrong. He'll have the briefcase past SummerSlam. How about that? And they might use... I'm so wrong. He's going to cash in tomorrow. Watch it. This will happen. They might use him not cashing it in to get heat. Sami Zayn was the other guy. That's right, because the announcer said his intention was to win it and never cash it in and let it expire after a year as a way to pledge his loyalty to Roman Reigns and the bloodline. And that was interesting, because we've never heard that angle of it before. We've never had anyone let it expire. I think it would be great if someone just fucking forgot. He's on like day 666 or 367 if it's a leap year. And they just go, hey, did you cash it in? And then he goes, what? Oh my god. Shit. Or it's the last day. It's the 365th day. And he forgets and they're like, and you have the whole night and they wait until 11:05 Eastern at the end of Raw to do it or whatever. And they haven't done that. No one's gone the year yet. Seth had it for a while, but no one's gone the year. But thought it was worth noting. This pay-per-view was the best pro wrestling pay-per-view WWE did. They did a pro wrestling pay-per-view by accident because all their superstars were not here, and the big babyface Cody they're trying to build can't be there because he's hurt, and Roman's not going to be bothered, and Brock's not there. Charlotte's not there. Owens is off the card. Maybe he's hurt. I don't know. Ezekiel wasn't there. Who cares? John Cena came back to Raw last week, but he's not here at this, so we just forgot about that. I'm going to Raw tomorrow in San Diego, provided I get a new car batteries. That sucked ass, too. So, they had good pro wrestling on this pay-per-view, by and large. Of the two ladder matches, the Liv victory is more memorable, but the match wasn't good, and I think the Theory win is kind of, the last minute inclusion is kind of goofy, and it's an eye-rolling sports entertainment thing, but the match was pretty solid. The competitors, the wrestlers, I'm talking like them now, Jesus. The wrestlers in the men's ladder thing have done that scenario, I think, more than the women have done the ladder thing in their scenario, if that makes sense. So, like, Sheamus and Drew have probably been in a dozen of these goddamn things. Who else was in there? And Sammy does it, yada yada. But it's not just the stunts and the painful bumps on the ladders and all that crap. It's the organization. Like, you can see when in a women's match when something went goofy, they had to keep going to the next spot anyway, and it made less sense. And one of them was the Raquel Rodriguez spot that I forgot, not the deadlifting thing that went awry. Something right after it, and then it kind of felt like, oh, that didn't work, but you have to do the next thing anyway. And there's really no other way to work these multi-person matches. You're not working. You're doing the script. There's no time to be working. I imagine the little bit of creative freedom the wrestler has is when they're climbing the ladder, they can occasionally make this face or that face or this gesture real quick for a second here and there. But by and large, whatever happens in, A through ABC is happening ABC. This was a good pro wrestling pay-per-view, the best 2022 pro wrestling show for WWE, I think. I believe that. And the Profits and the two matches I fell asleep for, oddly enough, the Profits, Usos, and the Ronda Natalia were the two best pro wrestling matches on this show. And Bianca Carmella was good. Theory Lashley was good, wasn't crazy, but Bobby Lashley looks like an idiot now. It doesn't really matter if Lashley's match didn't need to be good. If Lashley's match was really, it wasn't, I think it was good. If it was really great, it would be a waste of a great match. You know why? Because it looks like Lashley lost. He beat the guy clean by submission. And at the end, Theory's holding the prize, which is more highly regarded than the prize Lashley won. Lashley won a match and looks like an idiot now. So, what does that say? But he can't complain, so you just won a championship, clean. Yeah. And the Intercontinental Championship that I guess Gunther has on SmackDown was mentioned 0 times. Just want to mention that too. I don't know what the women's tag belt's doing. Who cares? Anyway, I thank you all for joining me, and in a hopefully sometime Tuesday my time, Tuesday night in my zone, I'll give you a report from WWE Raw, what it was like live. Haven't done one of these since last August. I'm going to give you a report as to what the show was like live and tell you everything I saw. I will not be rewatching it on Hulu. I got good seats, but I don't think I'm sitting close enough for my stupid ass to get on camera, which is probably for the better. If someone spots something, they'll probably point it out to me. So, anyway, live. See you in 2 days on the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.